Hi, it's Dwyer. Always 1776.com, a free site. Also, money 1776.com, a free site. And housing 777.blogspot.com, a free site. Today is June the 9th, 2025. Remember, nothing I say in this video should be construed as financial advice. I want everyone to do their own due diligence. The opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. Now, let me just say another disclaimer here. My take on the economy might be different from yours. Right? Just understand this is one man's opinion. The Buffett indicator tells me that stocks are still overvalued by a wide margin. Now let's talk about what that means. Right? I want people to realize that we shouldn't think of things as a stock market. We should think of them as a market of stocks. You want to look at the market, and whether it's inflationary times, whether it's deflationary times, whether it's a bull market, whether it's a bear market, you want to find stocks that you feel are perfectly positioned. Have a runway ahead of them. Folks, even during terrible bear markets, there are some stocks that will take off. Right? Let me point out, too, that even when there's a mania for one product, think about the gold rush in the 19th century, right? Where it's feast or famine. Either you were a 49er who found some gold, or you didn't. And if you didn't, you were out in the middle of nowhere with nothing to show for it. But understand, you had a different group of entrepreneurs who saw the gold rush mania take place. And they, of course, chose to come up with a new product to help the gold miners, right? Levi Strauss comes up with denim jeans. So you could be out, among the rocks, looking for gold, or by the stream, looking for gold. Your pants, as you can imagine, would get dirty, would get pulled, would get tugged. But because they were denim, they wouldn't tear. Levi Strauss. Maybe I'm confusing the entrepreneurs. Levi Strauss made a mint, right? Not too far from where I live is a stadium named after the company where, ironically, the San Francisco 49ers play. Well, just understand, you want to pay attention to the manias, whether or not you believe in the core product, right? You want to pay attention to the manias. You want to pay attention to the dips in the market. Understand, sophisticated gamblers, we'll call them investors, know how to make money if either happens, right? You don't even have to know exactly how to short stocks, because believe it or not, now you have ETFs that'll do the heavy lifting for you. You can just buy a bearish ETF that is keyed on an individual stock, where you say, okay, if Tesla goes down, this ETF is going to return a profit for me. Right? You don't have to own Bitcoin. Now you can own Bitcoin futures. So you actually get exposure to the price swings. So I need for people to know the products that are out there, right? Recognize that these ETFs have holdings. I want people to actually look at some of these ETFs and to realize what these ETFs are offering. So, we live in an era where you have to be an accredited investor, right? They're trying to protect investors, supposedly. So what they've done is they have set up a club where most of you are not in it, right? To paraphrase the great George Carlin, most of you are not in the club. You have to be in the club. You have to qualify to be an accredited investor. You have to have a certain net worth or a certain income. You and your wife can actually pool together resources. Of course, that favors people who have a partner. But that's how you get to invest in certain private stocks, stocks that are not publicly traded. So let me tell you what's happened, right? This is the trend. This is the unintended consequence if you believe that it's unintended. You have a stock like SpaceX, where they're doing a lot of work for your United States government, right? They are actively involved in launching satellites. You might remember some astronauts were stranded at, the government's request. SpaceX sent a rocket out there and brought the astronauts home. They have a very nice presence in the space market. Elon Musk, according to reports, wants to figure out a way to send robots to Mars, right? No doubt, robots, of course, manufactured by one of his companies, Tesla. So let's say I want to invest in SpaceX, but the way it's set up now, all they have to do is have a new round of funding. If you're a SpaceX insider, right? If you're a SpaceX stockholder, all you need, if you need to raise capital, is not to go public and lose control over most of the shares. No, you can keep the shares in-house. You can just have another funding round where other accredited investors show up and give the company some money in exchange for some equity. Right? This way, they get dibs on all the profits, not you, the public. And of course, the geniuses who thought up this statutory scheme think they're helping you by excluding you from big-time investments like SpaceX. Well, I've mentioned this in other videos, but I want to mention it early in this one, less than 10 minutes in. In the comment section of this YouTube video, I'm going to put a link to DXYZ. Right? Look up the symbol, DXYZ. Folks, more than 50% of their holdings are in SpaceX. Right? Understand, you can buy this. You don't have to be an accredited investor. You can buy this ETF through your regular brokerage account. Right? You can have exposure to SpaceX. Now, let me warn you, it's my belief that you have to pay something to get something. I believe the profits in SpaceX are going to be exponential. There's a management fee. Be aware of it. It's 2.5% annually. Again, 2.5%, whether or not your holdings make money or not. You're paying 2.5%. Recognize, too, that only a little bit more than half of the ETF fund is SpaceX. Right? They have other holdings, Axial Space and things like that, which I value. Right? So you're not getting $100 worth of SpaceX for $100 that you spend. You're getting $50 worth of SpaceX for the $100 you spend. You get $50 worth of other stock holdings. In fact, what I will do is I'll place a link where you can look at all the holdings of this DXYZ ETF. Let's go further. There's a ETF that's a little bit harder to invest in. Right? I mentioned it in an earlier video. It's the ARKVX fund. Right? Again, it's the ARKVX fund. You have to go through SoFi to invest in it. They also hold SpaceX, right? And they hold other things I like, OpenAI, Anthropic, some AI plays that are private, right, folks? When you're in the world of private stocks, they can go up exponentially once they go public. The problem is you're at the mercy of the insiders, right? Elon Musk doesn't have any driving need right now. No big capital raise that requires him to go public with SpaceX. It might not happen this year. It might not happen next year. You have to be the kind of person who buys an asset, realizes that you're perfectly situated, that it would take competitors an awful lot, that there's what Warren Buffett calls a moat here, and it's a huge moat that almost ensures that SpaceX is going to be extremely popular when it goes public. And you just have to have this as an asset, as part of your portfolio that you feel good about, right? That you understand has value, that you really can't fully quantify because it's not publicly traded yet. So in the comment section, I'll put a link to DXYZ. I'll also put a link to the ARKVX fund so that viewers here can take a look at it. Remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own. This should just be part of your own due diligence. Let me make another point. I've owned gold and silver for years. Right? For years. I used to bore people about 5 or 6 years ago in sports videos talking about silver. I would start a betting video by saying, look, nothing I say in this video is going to give you the rate of return that a long-term investment in silver is going to give you. Right? Now, just understand, it's taken a while, just like SpaceX might take a while. It's taken a while. But now silver's in the 30s. The gold-silver ratio is skewed to the point where, you know, you're dealing with potential upside that's hard to fathom. It's much higher than when I first started talking about silver here. Now, if you have a longer term horizon, and really that's the best way to invest, when you're investing in quality stuff, and you understand the wealth is really going to come in the waiting for the stuff to materialize, right? If you have a long-term horizon, silver is worth a look. So, I know I have a Substack page, dwyer70905.substack.com, that does allow for free memberships. You actually get part of what I'm posting. And I understand a lot of people are into crypto, and I'm a bull on several cryptos, right? But if you want to hedge the play, If you've made enough in some run-ups, right? Bitcoin, as I make this video, is around $108,000 this morning. If you just want to diversify a little bit, if you don't want to have all your eggs in one basket, what I want to do is to introduce the public here to an outfit that I don't own it, right? I just have some assets there that allows you to, you know, deposit Bitcoin or Ethereum and convert it to gold or silver, right? There are other things that this outfit accepts, Chainlink, for example. Give it a look. It's called Vaultoro.com. I'll put a link in the comment section to this video, right? Just so you can, you know, have a way, if you have some crypto you want to convert over to gold and silver, or if you have some gold and silver that you want to convert over to crypto, you have a way to do that for a current account. Now, let me be blunt here. I believe the best way to hold gold and silver is to actually hold it, right? You want gold and silver coins. Understand, a 1 ounce gold coin is worth well over $3,000 now. In other words, I could have, 3 1 ounce coins and have roughly $10,000 worth of gold, right? That's the best way, because history tells us that there are times when your government, the U.S. government, will come for your gold, right? Just understand it. So you want to have your gold someplace where the government can't raid the vault. Now, the gold industry allows you to pick vaults where your gold is stored. Let me name a company that does that. OneGold.com, right? It's OneGold.com. In fact, I'll put a link. Let me write a note to myself. I'll put a link to OneGold.com in the comment section of this video. You can literally, buy some gold in Switzerland or Singapore, right, and have it stored there. The idea is that they can raid your house, crooks could rob your house, and your gold is safely stored in a foreign jurisdiction. But be careful. The minute somebody else is holding your gold, you have what's called counterparty risk. I see I'm already at 18 minutes. Let's try to close this video out in 30 or less. Let's talk about some other ideas. Now, just a brief overview of some bullish parts of the economy. They're building nuclear plants now. One of the best moves that Donald Trump has done. And understand, I'm not a fan of tariffs, as I've said here before, not in the slightest, right? I'm not a fan of mercantilism, right? I believe the best path to prosperity is through free trade, right? So I disagree with the president on many things, right? On some core things. But Donald Trump did a great thing in terms of streamlining what it takes to build a nuclear plant, right? I need for folks to understand that China is in a position to pass the United States in nuclear generation by 2030. Right now, I believe we should be doing trade with China. I don't view China as some big enemy, right? My point to you is to simply understand how badly the United States is lagging in nuclear energy generation. Right? Why is nuclear energy important? It's because of the energy needs of AI. Right? We're building a lot of data centers. Now, let me say, I know there are those out there who say, oh, gee, when is the demand for AI going to justify all the money being spent on data centers? Right? I just need for people to understand that AI is with us in a much bigger way than any of us fully understand. Right? And as I see it, it's a foregone conclusion, especially given the extent to which corporations are laying off workers and are increasingly relying on AI. Right? They're not going to tell you. They're going to use the economic slowdown as a cover for laying off workers. You have a lot of these corporate Goliaths who have groundbreaking technology, investments in companies like OpenAI, who are making money hand over fist in cloud computing, but yet they're laying off workers. Right? If you're a computer coder, your profession is being disintermediated. Right? I need for folks to understand too the latest, video, speech, text to video creation by Alphabet is simply groundbreaking. So understand this technology is here, it's essential. Businesses aren't using it for vanity purposes, they're actually using it to increase their efficiency, to replace workers with capital investments, right? And this technology needs data centers. You can imagine all the chips and the electricity involved in creating the data center. So you need these nuclear plants. Folks, these are bullish areas. Of course, you need semiconductors, and of course, you need increased robotics. Now, for an older generation, we remember 3 Mile Island. We remember movies with people like Jack Lemmon and Jane Fonda, where they were trying to convince you that nuclear plants were dangerous, that this was an existentialist threat to the planet, that there was a chance that there'd be a meltdown to the core of the planet, and stuff like that. Folks, the technology has come a long way. It's come such a long way that one wonders whether we even need workers long term at these nuclear plants, given the rise of robotics. Let's ask a question that needs to be asked. I know Tesla looks overvalued as a car company. Is it a car company? Elon Musk has folded his robotics unit in Tesla. Right? With the emergence of BYD, look up that Chinese company. They're the low-cost provider in the electric vehicle space. Right? With the emergence of many EV companies, what's the technological edge that Tesla has? Folks, if you're a speculator, you might feel it's robotics. Right? We don't think about it that much. We don't think about autonomous vehicles as being robot driven, but that's what they are. Understand, Amazon right now is using a lot of robots in its warehouse. Elon Musk, his humanoid robots. If you've been on X looking at the videos, you're astounded by the dexterity of the robots today, by how far the robots have come in just the last 12 months. Now, there used to be a fear, a lot of it was unwarranted, my opinion, of radiation from working in a nuclear plant. Folks, that assumes that the group working in the nuclear plant are humans. Isn't the risk greatly reduced if you're able to perform a lot of the work using robots? Folks, we're there now, right? So let me just say, you want to look at these modular nuclear power plants. You want to recognize that we're behind China. We've built so few over the last few decades that we're behind our own power needs. Just Google Meta, Google Alphabet, and look at the deals they've had to strike with third parties to obtain power. Right? This is a bullish part of the market. Let me close, since I'm at 26 minutes, by just pointing out that Tesla, to me, is worth a speculation. I've owned Tesla in the past. I plan to own it again. I don't right now. In the future. Let me also say, too, Walmart recently rolled out in 5 cities drones to deliver their products. Right, folks? I want people to think about the United States for a moment. Think about all the, rural areas, the suburban areas that are, away from, the mall in town and stuff like that. And just think about the possible market for drones. If this clicks, right? If I'm able to order stuff, and rather than pay a delivery person, rather than pay for all the gas, all the fuel, all the hours that it takes for a delivery man to drive all over your town and then, enter your building, leave their vehicle on the side of the road, enter your building to drop off packages. Just imagine how much more efficient and cheaper things would be if it's all done by drones. I need for folks to realize that the drone company that is delivering Walmart's packages is Alphabet. Right? Think this through. Alphabet, I've been talking about Alphabet here on a few of these high-risk talks. It's been great, right? You're getting that company at a time when it's involved in many groundbreaking markets, right? Waymo, autonomous vehicles, drone delivery for Walmart, big retailer, right? Nationwide reach, right, folks? If either of these take off, and of course, Gemini, artificial intelligence, and YouTube, of course, is really an advertising mecca. You're watching this video on YouTube. I just need for people to understand that Google right now, in terms of PE, is cheap, right? Understand, if things hit, if drone delivery takes off, Google's one of the companies that's going to profit. You're hearing about Elon's robotaxis. Google's already in the space with Waymo. Let me also say, too, TSMC, take a look at that. Folks, this is the age of semiconductors. Right? Those are my thoughts today. Let me hear yours. I'll leave some links in the comment section of this YouTube video that I hope you take a look at as part of your due diligence. Thanks for stopping by.